ठीक है, ओके. Now let us see the objective of British company and its working method in Bengal. Let us see. I said you earlier that British company was a mercantile company. It was a mercantile company. And mercantilism is a kind of imperialism. Imperialism. Both are similar. Mercantilism and imperialism both are similar. And that's why the objective of British company was number one, to have monopoly over the trade of Bengal, number one. Number two, to have control over the resources of Bengal, revenue of Bengal. Number three, to have control over the raw materials, this was the basic goal of British company. To control all trades in Bengal, no competition was there. Number two, to monopolize all the revenue of Bengal. And number three was to control all the raw materials of Bengal. Okay. In order to fulfill all these objectives, British company had also some specific working methods. Let us see one by one. Working methods of British company. Number one, to create conspiracy with the nobles of Nawab. As you can see, before the Battle of Plassey, Mir Jafar was a party of British company. He was given a promise by Lord Clive to help him to become Nawab of Bengal. And that's why Mir Jafar, who was commander-in-chief of Nawab army, he remained isolated from the war. And without any war, real war, Clive became winner. So the first working method of British company was to create conspiracy. Number two, to make a war. Suppose if conspiracy failed to bring about result, then British company had other option like war. As they fought a war in Buxar, Plassey was conquered by them by conspiracy and Buxar was conquered by them by war. Number three was fortification of their settlement. It means their aim was to fortify their settlements so that in case of war they could fight against enemies very easily. Number four, to expand British interest without exposing its real nature. Its real nature. It was the fourth method of British company. It means their goal was to promote their imperial interest without exposing their imperial face before the Indian people, so that no joint alliance could be made by them against British company. Number 5. Number 5 program was to win India one by one, so that no joint alliance could be made by Indian powers against British company. Number 6 was to maintain a balance between the trade and the war, so that they could not face any financial hardship as was faced by French company. So these were the working methods of British company in India. Okay. Now, let us explain the next point, and that is the issues of conflict between British company and Nawab. It means without explaining these basic conflicts, we can't understand the process that led to the Battle of Plassey. Okay. So let us first take the complaints of Nawab. The complaints of Nawab against British company. Number 1. The first complaint was that no decency was displayed by British company when Shiraz became Nawab of Bengal. He was Nawab, he was political power, and that's why company was to display some courtesy before Nawab by giving him some gift, some nazarana, some upahar like commodities. But nothing was done by British company. No display of decency by British company. First. Number 2. British company provided shelters to all opponents of Nawab. Shelter given by British company to the enemies of Nawab. Enemies of Nawab. For example, Ghasiti Begum, she was given shelter. Jagat Seth, he was also given shelter. Omi Chand, he was also given shelter. So it was the second complaints of Nawab against British company. The third was misuse of dastak. That was harming the revenue of Nawab. Nawab said that he had no objection about use of dastak because it was given by Mughal emperor. I only object its misuse because it is harming my own resources. Despite Nawab instruction to British company, nothing was done by British company. So it was the third complaints of Nawab against British company. Number 4. Despite Nawab instruction to the British company, they continued their fortification. Their fortification. Nawab said that it seems to be a preparation of war against me. I give you guarantee for your safety. Then why you are making fortification? Is it not a kind of preparation for the war? Nothing was said by British company. Nothing was responded by British company. Okay. And number 5, no respect to the rules and regulations of Bengal by British company. By British company. So these are the major complaints of Nawab against British company. Let us see the complaints made by British company against Nawab. Then only we could judge who is better and who is right, and who is responsible for the war, and who is the real culprit. See, complaints of British company. See, British company said that Nawab made interference in their domestic affairs. Means interference of Nawab in domestic affair of British company. It was the first allegation of company against Nawab. Second allegation was fortification is for their safety, not for a war against British company, against Nawab. Company says that their fortification is basically meant to ensure their safety. It's not a kind of preparation for the war against Nawab. Okay. So, these are the two complaints, allegation made by British company against Nawab. Now let us see what happened further. I mean, the events leading to the Battle of Plassey. Means we have to explain the main events leading to the Battle of Plassey. Number 1 events. First event. As no response came on behalf of company against behalf of company for the complaints made by Nawab, and so Siraj-ud-Dowla eventually decided to take military action against British company. As a result, in June 1756, Siraj-ud-Dowla captured Fort William, the headquarters of British company in Bengal, and also Calcutta. Both were being captured by Siraj-ud-Dowla. And then Siraj-ud-Dowla gave the charge of both site, I mean Fort William and Calcutta, in the hand of his officer Manik Chand. Manik Chand, and came back to his capital Murshidabad. Okay. For a time being, the whole system of British company in Bengal was dismantled by this military aggression of Siraj-ud-Dawla. In this condition, a British army led by Lord Clive came to Bengal from Madras to bring back the lost sites of British company. I mean Fort William and Calcutta. Lord Clive was an inborn genius. He was a fine military commander. So he bribed Manik Chand, and without any struggle, without any resistance, Lord Clive managed to bring back both Fort William and Calcutta in the command of British company. It means once again both sides came under the British company, Calcutta and Fort William. And then after, Lord Clive compelled Siraj-ud-Dawla either for a war or for a treaty, because Lord Clive was offensive, he was no longer defensive. On the other hand, Siraj had no other option, because he was not expecting a war against him. And so in this condition, Siraj decided to sign a treaty because he was not prepared for the war. And as a result, in Feb 1757, a treaty was signed between Siraj-ud-Dawla and Lord Clive. And this is known as the Treaty of Alinagar. In Feb 1757, two parties, Siraj-ud-Dawla, Nawab of Bengal, and Lord Clive, British commander. Let us see the main terms and conditions of Alinagar Treaty. The first provision of this treaty was, number one, British company got all its sites in Bengal, Fort William, Calcutta, and other sites. Number two, all sites given to British company. First provision of this treaty. The second, British company also got all previous commercial privileges. Like dastak, like other benefits, it was also given to British company. The third was, Siraj-ud-Dawla also gave a war compensation to the British company. A war compensation to the British company was also given. Okay. And number fourth, both parties decided not to make interference in the domains of each other. Both were to be neutral. Okay. So by Alinagar Treaty, British company got all its previous privileges in Bengal. So let us see. A basic question is, that if the Treaty of Alinagar provided all demands of company, nothing was denied by Siraj, everything was accepted by Siraj-ud-Dawla. Then a basic question is, why did Lord Clive impose a war on Siraj-ud-Dawla? Suppose Lord Clive had got all demands put by him, then why did this man impose a war on Siraj-ud-Dawla? It's very simple. Treaty of Alinagar gave Lord Clive only concession, but Clive was desiring to get rights in Bengal, not concession, rights. And this should be legitimate right, not concession. And that's why Lord Clive decided to create a pretext to fight a war against Siraj-ud-Dawla. Because nothing was rejected by Siraj-ud-Dawla. Whatever demand was put by them before him, he accepted. So Lord Clive decided to create some pretext to fight a war against Nawab. And therefore, in March 1757, Lord Clive attacked Chandarnagar, that was a site of French company in Bengal. It was a French site, French settlement in Bengal. And once it was being attacked by British company, then Siraj decided to fight a war against British company without any thinking about its result. Okay. So let us explain what happens further. On 23rd June 1757, a place was Palasi, situated in Nadia district of Bengal. Here, India witnessed a historic battle, a decisive battle, known as Battle of Palasi. In this battle, Siraj's army was led by his commander Mir Jafar. Siraj's commander, Rai Durlab, Mir Madan, and Mohanlal. On the other hand, British army was led by Lord Clive, a genius military commander. In this historic war, no real war took place. It was only a demonstration of war. Because before the war, its result was designed. It was pre-decided. In fact, Lord Clive had made a promise to Mir Jafar to help him to become Nawab of Bengal, provided he was to be neutral in case of war against Siraj-ud-Dawla. And this man did the same thing. In this war, only two soldiers of Siraj-ud-Dawla, Mir Madan and Mohan Lal, they fought bravely against Lord Clive and they got Shaheed. They got themselves Shaheed. On the other hand, a major part of army led by Mir Jafar remained isolated from the war. And so without a loss of main materials, Lord Clive became the winner of this war. He came out victorious without losing anything in terms of main materials. Though this war was like another war and many wars of Indian history, but I should tell you here that in 1192, Tarain, in 1527, Khanwa, and June 1757, Palasi. Three landmarks, Battle of India. Tarain laid the foundation of Delhi Sultanate. Khanwa laid the foundation of Mughal Empire. And Palasi laid the foundation of British Empire. So it was not an ordinary war. It became instrumental to bring about a new change in existing Indian political scenario. A company which came in the court of Jahangir to get some concession to have some factory in India, Captain Hawkins, the same company became a political power in Bengal, became kingmaker in Bengal, and later on this company became complete, undisputed master of whole India. And in this process, Palasi was the first experiment. Now, let us see the impact of Palasi. And this could be explained by political impact, economic impact, and cultural impact. Let us first take its political impact. Number one, Mir Jafar became a puppet Nawab of Bengal. He was not real, a puppet of Lord Clive. Number two, British company became a political power, though indirectly, not directly. Number three, Palasi gave them a foundation for expansion of British Empire. In other parts of India. It became a launching pad. Bengal became a launching pad. It became a missile for them. It is all about the political impact of Battle of Palasi. Let us take its economic impact. One, the drain of India, the drain of wealth from India started. From India started. It started. By different means, loots. Number 2, revenue. Number 3, raw materials. Number 4, monopoly over the trade. Over the trade. This was the economic result of the Battle of Plassey. Loots. Number 1. Shashi Tharoor, a prominent member of Congress and is also parliamentarians MP of Congress party from Kerala, who wrote a book, An Era of Darkness. An Era of Darkness. The British Empire. The British Empire. In this book, he has written that Lord Clive transferred nearly 250 million pounds to England. To England just after the Battle of Plassey. This 250 million pounds could be in today's money. In today's money. It means the amount transferred by Clive was equal to 250 million pounds of today. So it was a huge loot from India. Second, Clive himself took 23 million pounds of today's money. It was a personal loot of Lord Clive. It was a personal gift of Lord Clive. Okay. So you may imagine about the huge resources taken by British company just after a single war. Imagine about all those resources which they took after each war they fought in India. Revenue of 24 parganas was given to British company by Mir Jafar. Mir Jafar also transferred 24 parganas, and all revenues of this pargana was to be transferred in the hand of British company. Number 3, raw materials like silk, cotton, indigo, sugar. They also got control over all these raw materials of Bengal. And finally, trade. In Bengal, there was no longer any competition from other European companies because Nawab had become their puppet. And so there was a complete lack of competition in Bengal. The whole trade and commerce came under the control of British company. No dastak, no difference between the use and misuse of dastak. Because the man who was to make difference, he had become puppet. Okay. Let us see the cultural impact of British company. Here, I would like to quote a statement of a prominent historian of India, Sir Jadunath Sarkar, who said on 23rd June 1757, the medieval age came to end, and the modern age started. A statement given by a prominent historian, Sir Jadunath Sarkar. But this statement is not logical, not relevant, because Palasi did not begin the modern age in India. It was basically a change of power from one hand to another hand. No changes took place just after the war of Palasi. Because in this period, company had no interest and company had no objective. Still, you can say that this war made British company a political power in India, and that's why in future it was expected that this company would brought about some changes. So we can't accept this statement that it was a beginning of modern age. In reality, in this question, it is also a question of UPSC. My dear, remember this statement also was asked by UPSC many times. So always remember, in this question, you have to write that it was merely a transfer of power rather than the end of medieval age and the beginning of modern age. In India, the modern age indeed began with Raja Ram Mohan Rai in 19th century. When Raja Ram Mohan Rai started a process which gradually left all the medieval traditions of India like sati system, infanticide and so and so. So we can say that the real process of modernization in India started with Indian Renaissance. This event, this war was not a decisive factor for the end of medieval age and the beginning of modern age. Okay. So this is all about the Battle of Palasi. Okay.